Welcome back. You're watching World Talks, where every word matters. I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Where is Fico could be a new game, as media and the public opinion are trying their best to understand where the pro-Russian Slovak Prime Minister actually is. No comments were made on claims that the head of the government has been staying at a five-star hotel in Vietnam as protests intensified in Bratislava. Prime Minister Robert Fico isn't just the enfant terrible of the European Union, but also one of its longest-serving prime ministers. His party, Smer, has been in power since 2006 with only a brief interruption. And Fico continues to excel in mastering the art of gaining and maintaining power. Despite this, however, his current government has never been as fragile as it is now. To discuss this, I'm joined by Tomáš Strážay, an analyst at the Slovak Foreign Policy Association. A very good morning, and thank you for joining me on the program.
Hello, good morning.
So, the big question is, where is Fico and why is so little known about his whereabouts? And when he went to Moscow, what did he actually do? And what's the public opinion about his visit at Putin's place?
Well, thank you for these questions, and I would really like to respond to all of them. But actually, we only have very small pieces of information as of now, and no officially information, neither from the Prime Minister nor from the office of the Prime Minister. We just saw some pictures from Moscow, even a video while the Prime Minister Fico was meeting Russian President Putin. It was December the 22nd. By the way, also this trip was not announced by the Prime Minister himself, but by the Serbian President Vučić, and since then we hadn't had any news about his current position, location, about the steps he has been doing, and so the only Slovak official who contributed to those information flows was the President of the Republic, who just briefly said that he was informed about the Prime Minister vacation abroad, but didn't specify the length of the vacation, didn't specify the place of the vacation. It were the journalists who discovered that he might be in Vietnam in a luxurious hotel, spending his holidays there. But hopefully this week we will know more, as the Prime Minister should be back in the country, and there are some meetings expected to be held with other high representatives of Slovak Republic. So there is certain belief that things will get clearer. Otherwise, we only have very fragmented, scattered pieces of information, and it also provides a space for speculations, I would say.
Most
of course,
definitely.
Prime Minister has communicated via social media and published some of his statements, but these didn't bring more light to his trip to Moscow, to his vacation. He just informed that he is sorry for Ukraine's decision to stop the gas flow and the transmission of gas from Russia to Slovakia, and Slovakia might actually be interested or willing, better to say, to react to this step.
Which I'm happy that you mentioned this, because I would like to take a moment, because there was a meeting between Slovak, Ukrainian and European Commission officials over gas supplies planned for Tuesday. It was supposed to happen. It has been cancelled because Kyiv will not participate. And Slovakia said, according to this information, we know that Fico has accused Kyiv of damaging Slovakia by not extending a transit deal for Russian gas, and has threatened to cut electricity flows to Ukraine and reduce aid for its refugees, which is incredibly important piece of information. What do you think will be the next step? And is there any possibility for Slovakia to actually prepare? Was there any way for Slovakia to prepare for Ukraine stopping transfer of gas from Russia?
Well, it certainly is not a problem to Slovakia's energy security, because Slovakia has interconnectors with all neighboring countries. So definitely the transfer of gas, of sufficient amounts of gas to Slovakia wouldn't be a problem. The problem might be a bigger or higher price, because Slovakia would now have to pay for the transmission and pay the transmission fees, which was actually not the case for the Russian gas, because Slovakia actually profited from the gas transmission. Prior, Ukraine decided to actually cut the flows from Russia. So it's more about the lost profit for Slovakia, for the state budget, than anything else. And according to the information I have, Prime Minister is going to discuss the reactions on the steps that were made by the Ukrainian president and Ukraine itself with his coalition partners, which means the party The Voice, HLAS, and Slovak National Party, or SNS. So after having this meeting, we will hopefully get more information about the reaction. But actually, the warning Mr. Fico issued, so to say, that he might stop, or Slovakia might stop to actually transfer electricity to Ukraine, is not a serious threat, because these transfers of electricity or transmission of electricity were actually based on commercial base, which also means that Slovakia actually profited from selling the electricity to Ukraine. So if the government would decide to influence the private companies who are selling electricity to Ukraine, it would also mean that the state budget would suffer even more because of the loss of transmission fees. Or from the actually, not transmission fees exactly, but from the fees that would get into the budget from selling the electricity to Ukraine.
So we're talking about the energy, but also during this situation, it is important to remember about the civilians and the court of public opinion, because we know that thousands of Slovakians took to the streets of the capital, Bratislava, on Friday, the 3rd of January, protesting Prime Minister Robert Fico's Russia-friendly policies. And in the meantime, he was actually absent. So what would you say is the sentiment of the majority of the public opinion right now in Slovakia? And has the public opinion shifted in response to the government's current policies and international engagements?
It's perhaps too early to assess that, because there are many factors that have been influencing the development of public opinion. Still, the Prime Minister has quite a large group of his and his party's supporters, and the reason why he decided to meet Putin just before the Christmas was also the message that needed to be sent to his electorate, that he is actually that he was with Putin, with one of the, I would say, really preferred world politicians of his electorate. So this domestic impact also should be taken into the consideration. But the truth is that the public opinion is very much polarized at the moment in Slovakia, and still the government, I would say, has quite significant support of the population. We can only guess what would happen in the course of the coming months, because due to the consolidation package that would impact the economy of the country, and that would actually increase prices of quite a lot of commodities, and every Slovak citizen would more or less feel that the consequences of this consolidation package, this would actually be perhaps the game changer. And I think that Mr. Fico and his partners from the government are aware of the fact that the public opinion might shift towards the opposition in
and so the final question, a final question for you, sir. Are we due? Final question for you, sir. Are we due for an early election in Slovakia?
This is one of the options that can be excluded, but I think it's not going to happen in the first half of the year, but maybe later when the population will really feel the consequences of the implementation of the consolidation package. Then perhaps the opposition would somehow mobilize even more its supporters, and this might lead to the elections. But also the possibility is that the government will stay in power till the very end of its election.
And unfortunately, we will have to put a full stop there because our time in the studio is coming to an end. But thank you for joining me. I hope to speak to you soon. Tomáš Strážay, Analyst, Slovak Foreign Policy Association. Thank you for joining me in the studio today.
Thank you for the invitation.
And so this would be all for now here on World Talks, but please do stay tuned, as only in a second we're going to have Salia Stremska coming up next with the latest news bulletin.